Hello everyone, it's me Gagan Kumar present over here to teach you physics. Let's move on to the video. Today we will be discussing NEET 2021 previous year questions and solutions. I welcome you all to Vidya Lakshmi, NEET and JEE Academy. So let's move on to the questions. So here we have paper code M2 and section A, NEET 2021 question paper. So question number 1, it is given an inductor of inductance L and a capacitor of capacitance C and a resistor of resistance R are connected in series to an AC source of potential V. So here circuit is given. In this circuit, this symbol represent L, this symbol represent C and this symbol represent R, that is resistor. It is your capacitor, it is your inductor. Across inductor it is given potential 40 volt which is VL, potential across inductor, that is why VL. Potential across capacitor I will write as VC, potential across capacitor, and potential across resistor I will write as VR. And if you need to find this V, so this V is nothing but also written as V RMS, that is nothing but root under V R square plus VL minus VC square. Now come to question. Here it is given the amplitude of current is 10 root 2 ampere. So amplitude of current I will take as a symbol I naught. So normally maximum magnitude of current is taken as amplitude, which is symbol is I naught, that is given 10 root 2. And from here if you want to find what is your I RMS, then you can find it is I naught by root 2. So which is nothing but 10. Now again asking the question, the impedance of the circuit. So impedance is basically Z, so which is equivalent to a resistance, but resistance in the AC circuit we call basically impedance. So this impedance like a resistance opposition to the current, and its unit will be ohm. So here 4 options are given, we need to find this Z. So what is Z formula? Z is nothing but V RMS divided by RMS. So we need to see what is V RMS and we need to see what is I RMS, not I naught, we need to check about I RMS. So here V RMS will be how much? If I will substitute here, if I will substitute VR, VC and VL value in the above formula, I will get V RMS as 50. So VR is 40 square 1600 and 40 minus 10, that will be 30, 30 square will be 900. So 1600 plus 900, 2500, that root under will come as 50. Now I will write here it is V RMS 50 and I RMS is 10. So I am getting here answer as 5. So here answer will be option 4. So easily you are solving. If you remember this V RMS formula, then easily you can understand what is the impedance they are asking. Now we will go to the next question, question number 2. So find the value of angle of emergence. So here they are asking angle of emergence. So here one figure is given. So here some ray is emerging out. So this angle of emergence you need to find. And the refractive index of the glass is root 3. So this triangular shape is a glass. So its refractive index is root 3. Now let me draw here. Now here I am drawing the same triangle A, B, C. Now a ray is coming and falling perpendicularly to this surface. So here if a ray is falling perpendicular to the surface, then here angle of incidence is 0 because it is normal incidence. So ray will go normally like this. Now here this ray is passing like this way, and here this angle of emergence they are asking, and this angle is given 90 degree, this is 60 degree. So if ABC triangle you will see, so you know a triangle total angle is 180 degree. If 90 60 is coming 2 angles, then another angle will be definitely 30 degree. So total sum will come as 180 degree. Now if this is 90 degree, this will be also 90 degree. and this will be definitely again 60 degree, and you see here, here to here it is a perpendicular thing is coming, so it is 90 degree, so that is why this angle definitely 30 degree. Now this refractive index is given √3. Now here this point let me take as m. Now we need to apply here Snell's law to find this angle of emergence E, and here little geometrically I am solving, you try to understand this because it is question from ray optics. So now listen here. So if I will apply Snell's law at this point m, so what I can write? Now refractive index of this glass prism, that is √3 times sine of this angle, so that is 30, sine 30, that will be equal to refractive index of this medium. So this medium definitely it will be air medium, so refractive index is 1 of air medium we will consider, so it will be 1 into the angle and this angle, this emergence angle, so that is sine E. Now here I can write √3 sine 30 is nothing but 1/2, that is equal to sine E. Now here if I will see what is sine E, now sine E is nothing but this is √3/2, and you say me what is the E value for which sine E will become √3/2? It is definitely 60 degree, so here E will be 60 degree. So here which option is matching? Now option 1. So simple thing, if you little understand about the ray diagram and geometrical figure, then easily you can solve this question. Now let us move on to the question number 3. Here it is given a dipole is placed in an electric field. So this is the dipole, here one positive charge, here one negative charge, plus q minus q, present in an electric field as shown in the figure. In which direction it will move? Now they are asking which direction this dipole will move. Now listen here, this is the electric field E given, and some diagram is given like this here. That means you can understand from this diagram, here in this region the space, this space if you will see between two field lines, this is the electric field lines, is little less as compared to here. So definitely I can tell here electric field strength will be more according to the properties of electric field lines. If two electric field lines are very close to each other, then definitely electric field strength will be more. So here I can give this point as A, and here electric field strength is more at A as compared to this point B. So I will write electric field at B is basically less as compared to electric field at A. Now they are asking in which direction it will move, and some options are given here. So towards left right like that they are telling. Now listen here, if you want to find a force on a charged particle, that will be definitely Coulomb's force. So it is nothing but F equal to how much? Q into E. So on A if I will find, that is Fa, and on B if I will find force, that is Fb. So on positive charge Fa force, on negative charge, that is Fb force. And always remember, while using this formula we must use the sign of charge. So here definitely this plus q move in this direction, rightward direction, because electric field in this direction, but a negative charge will move towards left. Why? Now because here q negative will come. So negative electric field means, if electric field in this direction, negative electric field means it will be opposite to this electric field which is leftward. So definitely this A will try to move, this positive charge will move rightward and a negative charge will try to move leftward. But here if you will see this electric field strength, according to this formula, this force on A will come greater. So definitely the net force, if you will calculate, the net force will be in the direction of A, because Fa is greater, so net force is towards right. So I can write F net will be towards right direction. So dipole will move towards right. It can be option 2 or option 4. Now here again asking potential energy will increase or potential energy will decrease. Now listen carefully, if a system is moving, that system, either mechanical system or electrical system, that always moves so in the direction of minimum potential energy. That means towards stable equilibrium, like that you can tell. So definitely here potential of this dipole will what? Potential energy of the dipole will decrease. So here I think option 2. So this is the theoretical question along with little logical idea. So I hope everybody understand. Now we will go to the next question. Now here it is given a capacitor of capacitance C is connected across an AC source of voltage V given by V equal to V naught sin omega t. Now the displacement current between the plates of the capacitor would be what? So here some expressions are given. Now directly I am writing displacement current is nothing but if capacitor C given C into if potential V given C into dV by dt. So this is called derivative with respect to time. So here you have to do differentiation of this potential whatever it is given, and remember this displacement current and conduction current are different little. In terms of conduction current due to flow of charge carriers, but displacement current is due to the variation of electric field. So it comes inside the capacitor. So now here what I am telling, so if I will substitute V, then it will be d dt, so nothing but V naught sin omega t. Now here C is nothing but if V naught is a constant, it will come out of the derivative, and sin omega t derivative is nothing but cos omega t. So I can put here cos omega t, and one omega will come out also of the derivative, that is omega. Now here if I will combine this, it will become omega C V naught cos omega t. So now if we will check with option, so displacement current it is coming I think option 1. So here it is written V naught omega C, so I have written here omega C V naught, that is the same thing. So here cos omega t is there, so here also cos omega t. So your displacement current is nothing but id cos omega t. So now next come to the question number 5th. A thick current carrying cable of radius r. So here they are telling thick current carrying cable. So try to focus on that word. So thick current carrying cable means it is a solid wire. So it is which wire? Solid wire. Now its radius is given capital R and current is flowing I. That means in the solid conductor current is flowing I. So everywhere current is there. So current is flowing, total current is telling I. Now here they are telling the variation of magnetic field due to this wire or cable at a distance r from the axis of the cable. So now you take, this is the axis of the cable, suppose I will consider this is the axis of the cable. So this is the axis. Now from here I can take certain points, this point I can take as, this point I can take as M point, this point I can take as N point, this point I can take as P point. So this R I will give it greater than R, this point is distance is nothing but R equal to R, and this is nothing but R less than R. So I have 3 points M and P. So M is outside point, inside point, and P is inside point and N is on the surface point. Now here we need to find the graph which correctly represents, here some 4 options are given. Now listen, at M point if I want to find magnetic field, if current is there, then by applying Ampere's law we can find what is the current here, what is the magnetic field here. So here I am not deriving, directly writing the formula. So now just try to understand here. So here I can write mu naught I by 2 pi r. So that means this r distance is varies inversely to magnetic field outside the point, and on the surface it will be mu naught I by 2 pi r, and inside the surface it will be mu naught I r by 2 pi r square. If you are remembering this 3 formula, inside, outside, on the surface, then immediately you can do this graph. Now see here, if I will come from the center, I will consider here graph directly. So here I will come from the center, so this is r equal to 0. So center to surface r equal to r if I am coming. So here at inside what is happening? Now magnetic field is directly proportional to r, so a graph will come definitely straight line. Then after this will be your outside point which is r greater than r. After this graph will come like this way, inversely proportional, because here it is given outside point, it is b is inversely proportional to r, so it is a rectangular graph is coming, rectangular hyperbola. So that means here definitely we will check this graphs, option 3 is matching correctly with this graph. So straight line, then rectangular hyperbola. Okay. Now let's come to question number 6th. I hope everybody understand. Simple thing, if you remember one's formula, then easily you can solve this. Now question number 6 is telling a convex lens A of focal length 20 centimeter and a concave lens B of focal length 5 centimeter. Okay, so mark it, it is convex, it is concave, are kept along the same axis with a distance d between them. So if I will take here, so this is suppose convex lens, this is suppose concave lens. So distance is how much I am telling? D. Suppose this focal length I am writing as f1, this focal length I am writing as f2. So it is also given here, and this f1 f2 to use with sign convention, I will tell that. Now here they are telling if a parallel beam of light is falling on A, suppose this is your A, this is your B. Now falling on A, then what happening? Now this is emerging through B as a same parallel. Same parallel. That means what is happening? Now here there is nothing power, no power, or you can tell focal length is basically infinity. So it is like acting like a plain glass surface, just simply coming and going. That means here if I will find what is the total focal length, total equivalent focal length, I can write F equivalent is nothing but 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2 minus d times f1 into f2. If it is acting like a glass surface, then this f will become infinity. That means this total surface, this total 1 by infinity will become 0. So that means this 0 you have to equate this and you have to get answer. And if I will solve this, I will get d equal to with sign. So for convex lens, I know I have to take positive focal length, and for concave lens I have to take negative focal length. So here I can use f1 as plus 20 and f2 as minus 5. So if I subtract this, I will get plus 15. So d will be plus 15 centimeter. So your answer will be option 2. I hope you understand. If you directly remember this formula for a plane surface, if two combination lens are there, but for if it is going like rays are going parallel, then d equal to f1 plus f2, directly with sign convention you can use, within fraction of second you can get the answer. Okay, but otherwise you can use this way also, you can solve this, you will get the same thing, d equal to f1 plus f2. Now let us move on to the 7th question. Now an electromagnetic waves of wavelength lambda is incident on a photosensitive surface of negligible work function. If m is mass of the photoelectron emitted from the surface has de Broglie wavelength lambda d, then what is the condition coming? Some condition is given, and here some incident wavelength is given lambda. Now here what I am telling, try to understand, this is question from photoelectric effect. So here from the photoelectric effect, this is surface is there. Okay, so in the surface, so lambda is coming, it is incident wave of wavelength lambda. Now here an electron is emitting. If electron is emitting, it will have some kinetic energy. Let us take this kinetic energy, maximum is kmax. Now here what is this energy, total energy? Total energy you can write as h nu. So I will write here h nu is nothing but kinetic energy plus work function phi. So for this metal there will be certain work function will be there, so that I am writing as phi. Now try to understand, here they are telling work function is negligible. So if work function is negligible, then I can take phi as 0, I can write h nu as hc by lambda, which is nothing but kinetic energy maximum. kinetic energy maximum. Now we got some relation between kinetic energy and Sc by lambda, that wavelength, incident wavelength. Now we need to go for de Broglie wavelength. So de Broglie wavelength is what? Now that is lambda d, that is nothing but h by p, or you can go h by 2m into kinetic energy. So let me write this kinetic energy also maximum. So that momentum is written as basically 2m kinetic energy max, and root will be there. And here if I will find what is this kinetic energy max, so I can get, so from here if I will solve and I will get what is kinetic energy max. So kinetic energy max will be, so I have to take square both sides, so definitely it will become h square divided by 2m lambda d square. Now this kinetic energy max I will substitute here, so I will get Hc by lambda is equal to h square divided by 2m lambda d square. Now here h will cancel with h. Now you can find here what is lambda given or lambda d given, you can find here. I think if I will take this lambda that side, then it will become mc by h lambda d square. So this is a simple thing. If you want to understand photoelectric effect phenomenon, this Einstein's photoelectric equation, and along with the de Broglie wavelength, so combinedly you can solve this. Now we will go to next question, question number 8. Now here it is given column 1 and column 2, and in column 1 they have given some physical terms and their mathematical relation in column 2. We need to match it. So how to do this? Now first is focus here, it is drift velocity given. So drift velocity formula is matching with which one you need to check. So if drift velocity formula I will remember, formula based question. So drift velocity is nothing but it is mu times c, electric field, mu is called mobility of charge carrier, and this mu can be written as E tau by m, and electric field is E. Now here if I will rearrange this, it will be E by m into tau. So this mobility formula is E electronic charge, tau is the relaxation time, and m is the mass. Now E is the electric field. Now here I think this matching with the option R. So here I can write A is exactly matching with option R. Now let me go for B. So B is basically electrical resistivity. So here if you see this, I can understand I need to apply Ohm's law here. So microscopic condition Ohm's law if you will apply, so there you can write J equal to sigma E. So sigma is conductivity and J is called current density and E is the electric field. The sigma can be written as 1 by rho into E, and here if I will write this, I can write rho equal to nothing but E by J. So E is the electric field and J is the current density, and sigma is nothing but 1 by rho, conductivity is nothing but 1 by resistivity. So they are asking here electrical resistivity is nothing but, definitely this B will be matching with S. So I can write here B is matching with S. Okay. Now here it is given relaxation period, and option D, D is given current density. So current density is easy, you can find current density with what it is matching, there we no need to find relaxation period also. Now if we will go for current density is J, which is nothing but it is written as basically NEVD. Okay, it is coming from the formula we know already, I equal to NEA VD, and here if area I will take this side, then it will become J. So I by A is nothing but J, which is current density. So that means J is matching with this current density, J is matching with Q. So that means D is matching with Q. So from these three I can get my answer. So definitely A, R, B, S, and D is Q, and definitely C will be nothing but, definitely it will go to the P. So definitely our answer will be 1. Now question number 9. A radioactive nucleus, it is given a radioactive nucleus XZA undergoes a spontaneous decay in the sequence. This sequence is given here. Now where Z is atomic number and element is given X, the possible decay particle in the sequence is what? Now if you know alpha, beta particle decay, here 4 options are given, definitely alpha and beta positive, beta negative given. If you know what is alpha decay, and beta positive decay, beta negative decay, then immediately you can solve this. So let me explain here. If a element is there and atomic number Z, mass number A, if it is emitting one alpha particle, then this alpha particle means 2He4. So your atomic number is 2 and mass number is 4, and it will be doubly charged, doubly positive charged there. So then after what will happen here? Now this will convert to another daughter nuclei. That nuclei will have atomic number Z minus 2. If alpha particle is emitting, this Z will become Z minus 2. Try to remember. And this mass number will decrease by 4. So I will write here it is A minus 4. A minus 4. Now similarly, if I will go for beta positive decay, same element, atomic number Z and mass number A, it will go for beta positive decay, then here beta positive means it is plus 1 E0. This is the beta particle, it is called positron. So here charge is plus 1 and mass is 0. So there will be no change in mass. So the element which will form, it will be same mass as parent nuclei, but here it will become Z minus 1. So why this is becoming Z minus 1? Because of conservation of charge. Here similarly, if left hand side I have Z, then right hand side this addition should be Z. So 2 means 2 plus Z minus 2 will be Z. Similarly 1 plus Z minus 1 will be Z. Now next is beta negative decay. If I will have ZA, then here it is beta negative. So beta negative is what? Now minus 1 E0. It is called one electron. So this electron is having minus 1 charge you are taking. Now here if a minus 1 is there, to equate with the left hand side atomic number. So what we need to do? Now here we need to put Z plus 1 A. So now charge conservation happened. So this is the process, if you remember, then immediately you can solve here. Now try to tell me here. Now here if X, here you see atomic number you focus, because here mass numbers are nothing given. Now here if Z to Z minus 1 is happening, in which case is happening? That is happening in beta positive case. So definitely it will be beta positive emitting here. Now see Z minus 1 2, it is coming Z minus 3. So Z minus 3 means minus 2, again minus 2 is happening here, because if I will do Z minus 1 minus 2, it will become Z minus 3. So Z minus 2 happens for alpha particle. So here definitely alpha is emitting. Now here Z minus 3 to Z minus 2 happening, then definitely here if I will do Z minus 3 plus 1, that means your addition 1 happening. So addition happens in the atomic number when beta negative particle emits. So that's why definitely here beta negative particle. So sequence if will follow beta plus alpha and beta negative. So check option, this will be not correct, this will be also not correct, and definitely third answer is matching. So here will be option third. Now let us move to the question number 10. I hope you understand this. If you remember this decay equations, then immediately you can solve this. Now question number 10, they are telling the effective resistance of a parallel connection that consists of 4 wires of equal length, equal area, cross section and same material is 0.25 ohm. So remember here, so here they are telling equal resistor is there, 4 equal resistors, that you remember. What will be the effective resistance if they are connected in series? So let me understand about little what is the series connection of resistor. Now series connection resistor, if 3 resistors are in series, then what we will find? Suppose it is R1, it is R2, it is R3, then R equivalent is nothing but it will be addition, simple addition R2 plus R3. If 4 resistor is there, then you can add R1 plus R2 plus R3 plus R4. Now if parallel connection is there, parallel connection how? This type of connection is called parallel connection. This is all my resistors. So left side to left, right side to right, this is called parallel connection. If here it is R1, here it is R2, here it is R3, then here equivalent resistance how to find? Now 1 by R equivalent is nothing but 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. Similarly, if R4 is there, then I have to add plus 1 by R4. But here what they are telling, all resistors are equal, first they are connected in parallel, this sequence they connected first. So in the first case, R parallel equivalent, R parallel equivalent how much given? That is given 0.25 ohm, it is given in the circuit 0.25 ohm. Now here what is R parallel? If 4 equal resistor is there, 1, 2, 3, 4, then I have to write 1 by R plus 1 by R plus 1 by R plus again 1 by R, which will become 4 by R. And R equivalent, if I will consider here, it will become nothing but R by 4. Now this is nothing but 0.25 ohm. So my each resistor I am considering as R. So R parallel is coming R by 4. Now here I can write R equal to 0.25 into 4, it will become 1 ohm. So individual resistor I am getting the value is 1 ohm. In the second case they are asking, if this same resistor you are connecting in series, then what will be the equivalent resistance? Now if series I will connect 4 resistor, definitely you know you have to add R1 plus R2 plus R3 plus R4. If equal resistors are there, then it will be 4R, R plus R plus R plus R. So it will be 4R. So definitely you can write 4 times 1, that will be 4 ohm. So your answer 4 will be correct. So I hope you understand this. So little idea, if you have about series and parallel, then both together you can solve and you can understand. So I hope everybody understanding clearly. So thank you all of you. Keep watching this video. More videos will be uploaded. Thank you all of you.